If there's one genre I both enjoy and loathe, it would be shoot 'em ups. They reel you in with either cool looking characters or incredible visuals. The one thing that they all excel at though would be the one more game mentality. That is what makes them so beloved in the first place. If you are new here, this is a series where I spotlight 5 games in a genre on Steam, this case being 7 because why not? I'm trying something new. In this video, I will be covering 7 shmups on Steam. As usual with these videos, this is not a ranking. The order in which they appear mean nothing. Alright, intro's over. Let's jump right into the list of games. The first game of the day is Hazelnut Hex. This is a horizontal shmup that in my opinion is a fantastic beginner game in the genre. It has unlimited continues and the upgrades for this title also makes it super easy to get into. My favorite part about this game, and the reason I bought it apart from the art style, would be the bomb that you can use in this game. Bombs are limited use abilities that help even the playing field when needed. Most bombs are usually item pickups, but here it's instead replaced with a super meter. When enemies are defeated, they drop stars. These stars fill up that meter, and once enough is collected, you can essentially perform a Dragon Ball-esque beam that covers half the screen. This was the more enjoyable part of the game. Before you start the game, you are allowed to choose between a few different bullet types. I didn't really see a major difference in any of them, but I did enjoy using the default. Another beginner-friendly addition to this title would be how lenient the hurt box for your character is. Bullets can graze any part of your character, but once it comes into contact with your glowing heart, that's when the game registers a hit. Most games have the character themselves as the hurt box, with few pixels being the exception, but here it was actually quite nice to have such leniency. One of the first things that pop out with this game is the choice of color palette. It's very eye-catching, but at the same time, it's a little too much I think. As someone whose favorite color is purple, it kind of felt like a lot at first glance. However, what this limited palette of color does do is help separate yourself from the enemies and oncoming bullets. So while it seems like I was complaining, it actually does go in favor of this game. Another thing worth noting would be the music. It's pretty upbeat for the style of game it is, which is on par with the genre. For some reason, it was a little reminiscent of Sonic Adventure. Not sure why, but that was the kind of tone I got. But the boss battle music though is by far the best track in the game. Overall, Hazelnut Hex is a great starting point for those that want to get into the genre for the first time or who might not have enjoyed them in the past but want to give them another shot. With a base price of $8, it's a bit up there, especially with how little extra it gives. I beat the game in just under 30 minutes. If it had an extra playable character or something else, then I could see the justification. At the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. The sale price for it though does go for a reasonable number, hovering around the $2 mark. For what you get, I'd say it's a sale only game. But it doesn't hurt to want to pay full price in support of the devs. The second game we have here is Witchbot Meglilo. I think that's how you pronounce it. Witchbot has a certain vibe to it that I can get behind. When you first boot up the game, you get an opening cutscene. This is what every level will start off with. They mostly consist of still images with the music carrying the tone of the emotion displayed on screen. These were pretty entertaining to see and felt like a treat for beating a level. They weren't crazy unique, though it was clear what they were going for. It's a shmup that takes on the identity of an over-the-top shonen anime. This game isn't taking itself seriously, so I think its quote-unquote poor quality in some aspects are meant to continue that atmosphere. If it wasn't obvious through its visual gameplay, then the cutscenes make sure to drive home the fact it's just having fun. Apart from any visual quirks, the gameplay is very fun and addictive. The main mechanic that I would argue makes this game a beginner title would be the Witch Time ability. This allows the player to freeze time as long as they want to reposition themselves to a better spot. It does use a special meter, so it's not an infinite freeze. This mechanic is what made it fun, since if I got hit, it always felt like it was my fault. The weapon upgrades also make this title enjoyable, as it can elevate your experience by wrecking house. If you play long enough without getting hit, your character will be armed to the teeth with all kinds of things that say death. Witchbot is a short and sweet game that I am so glad to have in my library of Steam games. It doesn't try to be something it's not, and it wears its identity on its sleeve. It's a fun busted arcade shoot 'em up that has tons of replay value. From varying difficulty modes that change the boss patterns, to the outfits you can unlock just by replaying the game over and over. This game's base price is a reasonable $6. Its sale price on the other hand is even better, coming in at $1.80. This is its lowest recorded price tag, with its previous being $2 to $3. There's also a demo just in case you still aren't sure. Our next game is one that kinda surprised me. Astrolancer is what you get when you mesh NES Zelda with a shoot 'em up. I feel like saying that may have just got a few people to click off this video, but I promise this is a fun game. In fact, the only things that it takes from Zelda 1 are the more fun or interesting parts, those being weapon pickups and the world traversal. It also has hidden doors, but you can easily bypass this by getting the hidden door detector super early on. What makes this game unique and sets it apart from Zelda 1 is that it's a whole lot more linear. There are paths that aren't the main path, but they are all dead ends. These dead ends are usually where the hidden doors reside. They are also completely optional, however they do contain weapon upgrades or doodads for character enhancements after each level. Not getting them only means you'll have to be more skillful for boss encounters. Speaking of, the boss encounters are the fun of this game, at least for me personally. It's an all-out assault as you try to dance around their projectiles while also trying to hit them. If you choose the retro-style gameplay at the start of the game, then these fights might not be so fun, though they are doable. The only reason why I chose retro over the strafing style is solely on the fact I wanted a better damage output. After the boss is defeated, they flee the scene in which your character goes on pursuit. This part of the game was the most fun as it now becomes an air raid battle. These stages play exactly how a normal space shoot 'em up would. After a couple mini-bosses, you then get to face off against the main boss one final time. I will say, I think I kinda prefer playing the grounded bosses more than the second stage air variations. I don't think one is better than the other though. There is a story to this game, and it's a bit interesting, but not that deep, which is totally fine with me, as arcade-like games don't need to be. If you're a sucker for retro indies, then this is for sure the game to look at. Astrolancer's base price is $6 with its sale price at a super low 95 cents. It was just recently at its lowest recorded price, with the one before being $2.99. Overall, I highly suggest playing this game. The third game today is a title I've already mentioned before, Caladrius Blaze. Now, I'm not going to go super in-depth with this one since I did talk about it already on this channel. I have made an effort to not repeat titles from previous videos, however that video focused on arcade games while this is a shmup video. Anyways, Caladrius Blaze is what I'd call a premium shmup. Is it the best out there? No. What it does do though, it does very well. I could care less for whatever the story is about, but the visuals as well as the music is top notch. Every character has their own ship, with each having different playstyles. While the ships themselves are so-so, the boss designs as well as battles are amazing. They can be frustrating, but the spectacle is so grand that it kinda helps ease the pain a little. Presentation alone carries this game. With the game being priced at $20, that's a hard sell. Its sale price though is a clean $4. Time for the title that probably made you click on this video. I gotta get those clicks somehow. Tengai does what I wish most shmups would do. Its main draw for me is of course the fact you get to see the characters on screen instead of a bland ship. Anyhow, there is a story, but it's not really here. Let's be honest, you don't play shmups for their plot. What you may play this game for is their music, and this I feel succeeds. This coupled with the great arcade visuals makes this a blast to experience. There's not much to this game in all honesty. It's more or less a classic styled arcade shmup that has a lot more character to it than most at the time, and even now I'd say. I actually wanted to include this in a future Steam Arcade Games video, but it got delisted right before I could. Thankfully it got put back up not too long ago by another publisher. I'm not sure why any of this happened, and I'm also not sure if the version I own is any different than the new changing of hands. Having said that, the base price is a bit much at $10, with the sale price coming in at $5 USD. With this game, I probably wouldn't recommend it if you aren't huge on shmups. Tengai is a game that I'd only recommend to those that already have a bunch of shmups who want another to their collection. The sixth title we have is a pretty unique one. Super Glitter Rush is quite literally a boss rush from start to finish. Each level is a boss fight, with all of them being totally different from the last. Every boss has their own technique to take you down, with some being more of a gimmick while others kinda make you play a completely different game. Having every level be a boss only means you'll probably fail a few times before you get to understand each encounter. The way you play this game isn't like a normal shmup. The best way to describe it is to imagine your ability to shoot normal bullets is taken away. The only way you can defend yourself as well as attack is your bomb ability. At first, it was a weird concept. Similar to the first entry on this list, you need a type of gem that fills up your bomb gauge at the bottom of the screen. Once you have at least 1 meter filled, you are then able to throw out a projectile. The goal here is to line up your shot to deflect the most oncoming projectiles to fire back at them for maximum damage. The name of the game is to do this at the right opportunity in order to continue a chain. Continuing a chain now makes the game feel like a traditional shoot 'em up. While the gameplay may sound counterintuitive, it rewards the player for strategically firing their limited ammunition with more, well, ammunition. It's almost like Tetris. Once you set yourself up for a good chain, you get to rapid fire as your reward until you either mess up or beat the boss. This proved to be a really well thought out gameplay loop. I've never seen anything like it, and what makes this even better is that it completely solves my concern with this genre, which would be the lack of character these games usually have. Every boss is based around a theme of sorts, and the variety of characters you can choose from are decently unique themselves. Each of them play drastically different from the last, so it's not just a lazy reskin or slightly tweaked iteration of the main gun type. But these characters are also unlocked after every 5 levels, with there being a total of 30 unique boss levels. Each boss also includes their own color palette and can be obtained once defeated. I'm not going to say this has the most content out of all the games here, but I'd say it's like the top 3 on this list. It actually took me twice as long to beat this game than say something like Hazelnut Hex. Just like the aforementioned though, I for sure would more so recommend this game for beginner players as well. With a base price of $4, I think that's reasonable for what it is. Its sale price is just as good, coming in at $2. It may not be the most challenging, but for beginners to this genre, I think it's just enough to the point that you're not going to put it down without finishing it first. And lastly we have yeah, what he said. Firstly, I gotta say it took me a good 20 to 30 minutes to even figure out what was going on and how to even play this game. After some trial and error, I kinda understand how to play. I'm still not 100% sure on how to optimize my vehicle, but I think I get the idea. Highway Rampage is quite literally Mad Max, but a top-down vehicle shmup. It may not be a traditional shoot 'em up, but it does have all the essence of one. Avoid oncoming traffic and projectiles, collect currency to use later for upgrades, and grab pickups such as health and armor. It's exactly how a car shmup would be. I do like the health pickups being represented as gas cans, and that was a neat touch. Now, if you're thinking this is a reskin of a basic shmup, then you'd be completely wrong. What I enjoy about this title in particular is that it does enough to stand out from the rest of the genre. Firstly, the car itself has quite a heft to it. Turning doesn't fly you across screen like a spaceship would. It has some weight to it, which is even more amplified when using the boost. The guns are also pretty unique to this game, with most playable vehicles having multiple. These are kind of the weak points for me, which you could argue is the most important aspect of a game in this category. What I have to say about that is that it might just be a skill issue, as I don't think I was good at prioritizing my upgrades. Still, even after trying to use all of my scraps to fully upgrade my guns, they seem to not do much to bosses. The bosses of the game are what I consider the weakest point of this title. I was able to take an entire road's worth of enemies, but when it came to challenging the bosses, they didn't seem to take as much damage as I thought, ultimately feeling either too weak to face them, or they're just bullet sponges. Other than the one negative, this game offers a whole lot more than I had expected it to. Firstly, the character roster is super huge for a game like this. They all seem to do drastically different things too. Of course, they do have their own drawbacks, since some of them are smaller in size than others, meaning there will either be less gun attachments to equip or less passengers to tag along. Yeah, you can outright have passengers right alongside you, with each having different attributes to aid you in battle. These can be found in the garage, which is a path you can take at certain intervals of a given stage. This is also where you can find upgrades as well as new weapons to buy or sell. Highway Rampage has a lot to offer. Especially compared to any shoot 'em ups, the base price is a decent $13. This game's starting price is honestly kinda justified with how replayable it is. The discount is an outright steal, with its lowest being $1.30. While I wouldn't recommend it 100% for beginner players, I find that it's a perfect title for those looking for more of a challenge. Highway Rampage does not pull any punches. And there you have it, 7 Steam shoot 'em ups. I originally intended for this to be done in time for the Bullet Fest sale. However, I completely missed the time frame for that. What I decided was to buy a few more games from the sale and include them into this video. The idea was to do 10 at first after the pivot, although I figured that'd be a bit too much. I thought doing 7 was a middle ground between 5 and 10. Having more games would have made the video a lot longer, but if there's a demand for a longer list, then I'd be more than happy to try and do that in the future. Let me know in the comments, is 5 good enough, or is 10 a more desirable number? Anyway, I have a lot planned for the future, so please stay tuned. I'm going to try and do more fun videos rather than super informative ones, though videos like this one will obviously continue. With that being said, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.